Hi, this is Jed Wonderly with Noble Home Loans, and I wanted to talk to you today about tip number 6 with the in the video series of the top six tips when it comes to real estate investing. Now, I mentioned in the introductory video that I've worked with a number of clients who have owned, 2, 3, 4 investment properties. They've been doing it for a while, and they still don't have their asset protection and management plans set up at all, let alone set up properly. And that's kind of scary because that really puts a lot of assets at risk. Now, in order to best implement the plan, you'll need a good estate planning attorney, and I can recommend one to you either in Nevada. I know several who are really, really good in Nevada. Or in Utah. I also know 1 or 2 that are pretty good in Utah. Not just pretty good, but very good. So that is key to making this plan work. A good CPA can also help with regard to maximizing your tax deductions and making sure that you're safe when it comes to writing off appropriate things. Now, what I'm going to tell you is that first and foremost, you need to set up a trust. A trust is something that the estate planning attorney is going to get done for you, and they're going to set it up in such a way that's tailored to your situation. Now, what that's going to do is that's going to give you asset protection, so that if you've got a reason for somebody to sue you, maybe you had a car accident, maybe there was a slip and fall on your property or on one of your investment properties, they can't get to all of your assets when you have it in a trust. The second thing to think about is setting up an LLC. Now, both Utah and Nevada offer a series LLC, and that's a fantastic LLC because it allows you to have just one main LLC with a bunch of kind of sub LLCs, if you will. And what that does is it allows you to have, if you have 5 investment properties, you have one LLC with a branch for each of your properties that you own. So you have to have separate bookkeeping, separate checking accounts for each of those properties. But if there's a slip and fall on property number 1, or any kind of an accident, the only property that would be in jeopardy is that property. None of the other properties would be in jeopardy if you set it up right, and none of your other assets, and I wouldn't say personal assets because the trust is going to own all those assets from your cars, your joint investment accounts, non-retirement. The only things that can't be in the trust are retirement accounts like IRAs, 401ks, that kind of thing. But so you're going to have great asset protection by doing that. The other strategy is to make sure that you're basically mortgaged to the hilt. Now, that's not to say that, you're going to refinance every three years to, pull out $5,000 or $10,000 in cash just to make sure you're up to 80%. But I think that it's very important that a lot of people have this buy and hold strategy. 15 years down the road, there's been a lot of appreciation. You've paid off a fair chunk of your mortgage. And so you have a ton of equity sitting in there. Well, when you do that, if that's the property where maybe there's some kind of accident on it and somebody sues you, then the attorney looks at how much equity there is and says, yeah, let's go after him. There's a nice chunk of money that we can get here. Whereas if it's, mortgaged to the hilt where you only have like 20% equity, there's really not a whole lot of money for attorney's fees or for the attorney's client to get. So very important that to me, I think that about every 5 to 7 years, depending on the real estate market and depending on where you're buying in the market that you're buying in, because some areas are better than others, and I recommend buying in good areas. But depending on the real estate market, every 5 to 7 years, you should sell, do a 1031 exchange, and buy more real estate with that. Grow your asset. That's what, of course, you learned about in the stock and bond in real estate investing strategy, which was video number 5. That's 5. So if you haven't watched that, make sure you go watch that because there's some key information in there. But the other thing that you're going to benefit from when it comes to having a trust is you avoid probate. Now, probate does 2 things. First of all, if you were to die, and I say you avoid probate, actually your beneficiaries would avoid the probate. But if you were to die, then first of all, in probate, it takes a while to go through probate. So, your assets could be sitting there 6, 7, 8 months, a year, just depending on the backlog. And your beneficiaries won't have any access to them until it gets through probate. The other thing that happens is there's a fairly hefty tax, and I think it depends on the size of the estate and what state you're in and that kind of thing. But you avoid that when your assets are in a trust. So I highly recommend getting a trust set up for you. I highly recommend getting an LLC set up, which is managed by the trust. You manage the trust manages the LLCs. And so really the only kind of personal assets you should have are, furniture in your home. And then, of course, you'll own your Roth IRAs and 401ks outright. But that is the asset protection and asset management. Again, a good estate planning attorney is going to help you understand all the insides and outs and the details of what it's going to do for you and set one up specifically for your current situation as well as, what your plans are in terms of growing your wealth and what you want to do with it for the future. So if you have any questions, feel free to call me, 702-812-1214 or 801-893-1737. This is Jed Wonderly with Noble Home Loans, and I hope you got a lot of great information out of this series, and look forward to talking to you and helping you out any way I can. Take care, and goodbye.